Hi, I'm Bob Walker. It's been probably a year or more since the last time I posted anything on YouTube, but it's definitely time. I have something that I need to share with you that has proven to be life-changing for me, and I'm hoping it'll help a number of you as well. And it all began about 4 years ago. I'm a chief information officer for colleges and universities, and I was assigned back to back for two colleges in Arizona at the time. And I was going to work at one of the two colleges, and probably in my first or second week on the job, where I stepped out of my car, put my laptop bag over my shoulder, and started walking into work, and was stopped in my tracks by what I could only describe at the time as the love of God pouring down upon me like a waterfall. And not like water running over your head and down, but in and through me and out through me and out and around. And I was reduced to tears, to say the least. And if you've ever experienced anything like that, it was remarkable. It was maybe a few days later, the same thing happened. I pulled into the parking lot, got out of my car, grabbed my laptop, and started walking in, and the love of God hit me in the very same way. It was just a flood, and just accepting unconditional, overwhelming love of God pouring through me and again reducing me to tears. And just, I mean, I really couldn't even move. It was enough just to keep my breath. It was simply overwhelming. And the lesson that I learned there that I would pass along to you is, if that ever happens to you, don't ask the Lord to stop it. At that point, right there in the parking lot, I said, Lord, I I have to I have to work. I have to be a professional. I can't walk around like a bowling fool all day. And in some ways, I regret saying that. I you react the way you react at the time, and lesson learned. But it continues on from there. But it was to be 2 years later that I had a clear vision from the Lord. And if you've never had anything like that, it's that in and of itself also was remarkable. And for me, it was just like wide awake, like you have something in front of you that looks like a movie that's actually more real and substantial than everything else around you, and it's instantaneous. And what happens is, for me and for others that I've talked to that have experienced this, is you also get, being in the tech industry, I would call it a download, but you get instantaneous information, all the knowledge that you need for what you're seeing. And I knew right away that this had related to the experience that I had twice in a row in the parking lot with God's love pouring through me. And at the time, I just simply thought, well, I must have a mission here. There must be a calling for me to be here and to accomplish some work, to be God's love to the people around me. But it really wasn't any more specific than that. And let me describe this vision to you that came a couple of years later. What I saw was what looked like about an 8-inch shower head. And it was an 8-inch pipe that had come down and turned at 90 degrees so that it would be, if you could imagine this, the pipe coming through me and the shower head coming out of me. But the shower head, or the end of the pipe, had about 100 different holes. And I'm saying roughly. I didn't count them or didn't pay much attention to them because I was looking at the detail of each hole. Each one had this little valve cover, so that if you can imagine water being poured through this thing, You could shut all of the valves and keep the water from going through it. Or you could, open them all up or partially open them, or, what I understood immediately was that each of these little valve covers was a reason why I would choose not to love somebody in front of me or the people around me. And that was it was beautiful. It was incredible to know, but it was also kind of hard to face because I realized just how judgmental I am. I started to think of the reasons that I don't love the people around me or the people that I come in contact with. And for the past almost a year since that vision occurred, I've been working on doing my best to keep those valves open, to keep that flood of love from God coming out through me. We make a lot of excuses sometimes as to why we should be judging certain behaviors of certain people, and I don't know that any of us realize just how critical we are, and if we were to be held to the same standard, it would not bode well for us. But I started making a list of the common reasons why, and I wrote some of these down just to share them with you, and you can see why if I can work on this, it'll probably, first of all, make you feel pretty good about yourself, because there's a long way to go with all of this. But here we go. In the interest of full disclosure, have mercy on me here, okay? If you're a slob, I might not be as loving to you. If you're a bad driver, especially if you're in the left lane, I'm going to do my best to be patient, but not usually. If you're arrogant, if you're pessimistic or greedy or dishonest, sadly to say, I noticed when I was at a restaurant and a morbidly obese person was eating a lot of food, I reacted to that. I have no right to do that. And the same with the rest of these. If you're a judgmental person, if you're manipulative, vindictive, if you're passive aggressive, unforgiving, boastful, dishonest, greedy, impatient, impolite, inconsiderate, lazy, mean, rude, stingy, fake or superficial, if you don't make eye contact, or if I say good morning to you and you don't respond, what's my reaction going to be like? I mean, initially, I'd be like, but we are to love each other and to love each other in a very real way. If you're loud or obnoxious, if you're smelly, the list goes on. I'm sad to say there's probably no end of reasons why I would choose not to share God's love with somebody that I encounter. But here's what I've learned about us and about myself, is that when you start to practice this, when you start to really focus on when you're loving and when you're not, you can feel it. And the more you do it, the more obvious it is to you that you are restricting God's love, that you are holding it back, that you are closing it off. The love of God isn't something that you can keep to yourself, and I'm sure you've noticed that. You get more when you give more, just like about anything else in the kingdom of God. He wants us to be generous. He wants us to be loving. One of the reasons we may choose not to love another person is to protect ourselves. And you'll find that when you risk being hurt, you also risk being healed. And God's love does heal us and heals others. And it's very much worthwhile to just focus on kindness to begin with. If we look at all the fruits of the Spirit, love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control, Kindness is a very good start. Just looking someone in the eye, smiling, a simple smile, wishing them well, have a good day, or good morning, or have a good night, good evening. The simple things, thank yous, the simple kind gestures that we can do for one another, they all make a difference. And and we are called to open not only our hearts, but to help open the hearts of others by sharing that love, sharing that kindness, and by extending ourselves. We really get ourselves out of the way and extend Christ to others. But, we have to make the decision and the gesture to extend ourselves and extend Christ and to be open-hearted and share that. So I hope that helps you somewhat. It is it's a long road to change. I've been working at this for a while and I have a long way to go, but that's the direction we are to be headed in. So I encourage you to work on it too. I encourage you to be mindful of the ways you may be closing off your heart, closing off the love of God to the people that you encounter, the people in your life, the people you work with, the people around you, day to day. Don't drive like I have. Drive like I'm working on being loving and patient and kind. Speak well. Say the good things that people need to hear. Stop yourself from being cutting or for saying anything unkind or negative to people. Work on all those small ways that you will be able to bring the love of God to humanity, and together we'll change this world. God bless you all. Keep at it. It's worth it. And keep loving your neighbor as yourself, and we will thus put Christ first in our lives. Bye-bye.